Welcome to World. Hi, I'm Ben. If you're new around here, subscribe to the channel, click the like button below, let's dive in. Top 5 Panzer Variants. Please remember that these are my personal opinion and my favourites. First up, Whirlwind. The Panzer IV Whirlwind was produced within Germany in 1944 of March. It was produced as a stopgap because Allied air supremacy had become such a problem. The factories were getting bombed and it was very difficult for Germany to transport armoured columns throughout Western and Eastern Europe through strafing. So the Whirlwind had 4 20mm Flak 38 cannon. It had 80mm of armour on the front, and then it had 30mm of armour on the sides and 30 on the rear, but only 10mm on the top. Despite the numerous appearances in recent games, there were only 87 to 105 that were built. Number 4. The Mobilwagen, and I apologise in advance for butchering these German names. The Mobilwagen was produced in 1944. They were produced on damaged Panzer IVs that were shipped back to Germany that had been damaged on the Eastern Front. 240 Mobilwagens were built. They were built with 4 hinged 20mm armoured plates that could drop down. On the game it doesn't show any men operating the 37mm flat cannon. I don't know why, but they didn't have a crew operating the cannon, and it was deemed that a 37mm cannon was necessary because of the improved armour and the improved Allied aircraft that could fly higher than what they previously had done, and it was deemed that a 37mm cannon was the next step in order to combat these Allied aircraft. But once again, the Mobilwagen was only meant to be a stopgap until better flak panzers could be produced. But as Germany were losing the war by 1944, it was pretty difficult for new innovative ideas to come about. Number 3. 306 Brumbars were produced between 1943 and 1945. It was actually produced by Skoda, the same Skoda of today. It had a 15cm gun, or 150mm. It was designed to be an infantry support weapon. It was used at the Battle of Kursk, Anzio, Normandy, and it was also deployed within the Warsaw Uprising, which saw urban warfare yet again. The Sturmpanzer looks a lot heavier than what it initially looks. It's quite similar to the Sturmtiger in appearance, although it is only 28.2 tons in weight. On the front it had 100mm of armour. It had a secondary armament of a 7.92 MG34, which was standard across the majority of tanks in that period. Number 2. The Jagdpanzer IV had 80mm frontal armour, which was sloped, which it then ensured that it effectively had over 100mm of frontal armour. This would be very difficult for Soviet tanks to try and penetrate. It had 40 and 50mm of side armour, and it had an emphasis placed on wider tracks to ensure that it could operate safely and correctly within the Soviet winter months. It had a PaK 42 L70 main gun, which was the same gun that was seen on the Panther. It would then ensure that the Panzer IV, the chassis of it, would have its lifespan increased, and it would continue production right up until April 1945, effectively the end of the war. Number 1. STUG Life didn't choose me, I chose STUG Life. The Sturmgeschütz 3 was produced within Germany between 1940 and 1945. It was built on the Panzer III chassis. The Panzer III was initially Germany's main battle tank before it was succeeded by the Panzer IV, which was easily upgradable. Sturmgeschütz 3 was produced in massive numbers. It was produced in over 10,000. The initial proposition was from General von Manstein, who asked for an infantry support weapon mounting the 75mm short-barrelled artillery piece. Initially, the STUG was considered to be a self-propelled artillery piece. It was very, very successful within this role, so much so that it saw service right up until the end of the war. When Germany encountered the Soviet KV-1 heavy tank and T-34 76 medium tank, it was decided that a dedicated tank destroyer was needed. So the STUG 3 was equipped with a high velocity 7.5cm L43 main gun in spring 1942. It was cheaper and faster to build the Sturmgeschütz 3 than it was to build turreted tanks, and that's why so many were made. The armour on the Sturmgeschütz was between 16 and 80mm thick. It had a coaxial machine gun, which was an MG34, before later adding a shield turret on the top of the tank. The side armour is commonly believed to have been for heat charges, but in actual fact, Spielberger wrote that the side skirts were added to actually combat Soviet anti-tank rifles, not heat charges. He was there in person, so he should know. In 1943, it was ordered that all Panzer IIIs and Panzer IVs be fitted with the side skirts. So once again, I hope you did enjoy the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Please click the bell icon for notifications if you do subscribe. Please watch any of my other videos on Roman Britain. There's going to be quite a few in the series, or watch the other series, the Roman Empire, where there'll be other episodes to be coming for that. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you have a nice evening.